Friends, welcome back. Big Dano Paints. Monday night. We used to call it Party Monday. We don't call it that anymore. I wish we did. But we don't. I'm going to turn on my palette cam just because my friend Yon from Barcelona is here. Hello, Yon. For some reason it is not appearing. There it is. Hey. You're welcome, my friend. Making that look a lot harder than it needed to be, don't I? There we go. Excellent. Welcome, everyone. We're painting some Kingdom Death girls tonight, and we've actually had a pretty significant change with the setup, believe it or not, which you will not be able to see because it is not really in any way, shape, or form designed to do anything for the stream. But what it actually is I've set up my camera with a camera rig that attaches to the wall, and so it is far less obtrusive for me filming. And it doesn't get in the way as much because I used to have it on a tripod, so it wouldn't. G'day, Craigsog. It wouldn't wobble around when I wobbled the table, as I'm wont to do. So yeah, new camera rig attached to the wall. So we'll take a little bit of time just getting a handle on the camera angles and so forth, making sure that we're getting it right. But yeah, looks promising so far. I think this could actually be the best camera angle I've had in terms of visibility of the model, and in terms of not blocking my big melon head. So it's a win for everyone, really. But yeah, I used to have a tripod that I sort of had off to the side, and it was excellent because, and I'm sure if you're watching my palette camera, you'll see that it actually vibrates on occasion. If I was to turn on my airbrush, for example. Well, you can see it. Ceramatoglu 3737, thank you for that. Best viewers. I do need some best viewers, thank you. I've got a couple on here right now. Need some more. Kirsten as well. How good is that? Is it just me or are we starting to hit the big leagues? You know when you're getting spammers, it's because you're a big time streamer. On the big leagues. We got Pedro Miller too. This is outstanding. Anyway, so this is a fantastic figure. It is from obviously Kingdom Death, which I'm sure you would have guessed by clicking on the link to this stream. These Kingdom Death models, this particular set is from a pack that they released a few years ago called the 10th Anniversary Survivors. So these characters that I'm painting right now, I've already done one, are actually intended to represent the starting survivors that you get in the core game, the ones that you play your first ever showdown with 10 years on. So it was not only the 10th anniversary of Kingdom Death, but it's also 10 years on for these survivors in terms of the gear that they're wearing and in terms of their sort of their characterization, some of the skills that they're supposed to have and so forth. So I think it's a really neat idea. I was talking a lot last time about Glow, who's one of the narrative characters in the latest release, which is quite cool to have this idea of following the story of the characters over a period of time. Speaking of Kingdom Death and the wonderful game that it is, I recently did a video with another prominent Kingdom Death content creator by the name of Bra Mithra. Wonderful man, based in America, don't really know where. I've done a couple of videos with him now, actually. He loves Kingdom Death probably more than I do, which is definitely saying something. He does a lot of great content on the game, and follows all of the updates and stuff, and does little videos on the updates, and great content. I subscribe and highly recommend you do as well if you're at all interested in Kingdom Death. Very funny character. So yeah, and we selected our top 10 Kingdom Death models out of all the Kingdom Death models that have ever been released. Now, if you're new to the game, you probably wouldn't know, but there is a metric shit ton of models that have been released for this game, like a shitload. And I had to pick my top 10. So there's a website called KDM Collector, which has a listing of all of the Kingdom Death models ever released. Very, very, very cool website. You can see all the models, like literally ever released, which is great. However, because you can see literally every model that's ever been released, there is about 45 pages of models to scroll through. In me trying to choose my top 10. So I did. I scrolled through every single page on Kingdom Death Collector, and I selected my top 10 models. But I did it with a couple of other great painters and Kingdom Death luminaries from the Kingdom Death Discord. And the context we were given, and the reason I wanted to talk about this a little bit anyway, the context we were given was pick your top 10 models. And that was pretty much the only context, and it's always so fascinating to me to see how people interpret instructions. I recall watching a really great video on the internet a little while back of a computer programmer getting his kids to teach him how to make a sandwich. And so he's like, alright kids, I want you to tell me exactly what to do, and I'm going to make this sandwich. And so the kids are like, okay, Dad, well, first of all, you take the bread out, and then you butter the bread. And it just turned into an absolute schmozzle, as I'm sure you can imagine, as the dad intentionally just followed the instructions to a T. G'day, Simon. So, yeah, the way that people interpret instruction was my point that I was trying to make, and we all picked very different models for our top 10 models. So one of the great painters that I did the stream with, Mumford with an E, he only selected models that he'd painted, and I thought that was awesome. Like, what a cool way to really appreciate the range by only selecting models that you'd painted. I just thought that was fantastic. I did not do that. I just picked ones that had meaning for me. And then PhD, the other guy who did the stream, he was just picking stuff that he liked as well. Just came across in a very different way. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the stream. It's on the internet now. You can go and watch it should you wish to. Should you be interested to see my top 10. I will reveal my number one, which just because I wanted to talk about it, because my reason for it being number one was well, I thought it was pretty cool anyway. But yeah, so my number one was a figure called the Flower Witch, and I'll show you the figure in question in a second. But yeah, I was actually back in my early days of getting keen on becoming a miniature painter a little more seriously. I remember seeing this model entered at the Crystal Brush over in the United States of America, and there was a lot of big names heading to this event. I think Kirill won this particular year. So yeah, so you know the event was legitimate. Big cash prizes on offer too for that event. But yeah, this model was a Flower Witch from Jessica Rich, and that figure has absolutely stuck with me for the longest time. For Billy Joel. Yeah, it's just a stunning figure. I was at the video, Craig. So fuck, you're on fire tonight, mate. I should get you a raise. But yeah, this figure from Jessica Rich, it just shows really how beautiful the range of Kingdom Death is, in my opinion, and I think shows Kingdom Death at its best, which is to say it does gratuitous nudity, but in a very tasteful way. And I think Kingdom Death, at its best, straddles a very fine line between being just big-titted females into having some nuance to that conversation. Doubling your pay. Sounds fair. Yeah, I'll grab the link. I'll grab the link for the figure in question. There it is. Click on that link, and you'll see the Flower Witch model. It's an incredible model, and this is an incredible diorama. So, highly worth having a little peruse. But yeah, that particular model, it is actually coming out in a little while as a part of an expansion. It's actually in the same expansion that the big Sparrow Goblin that I painted recently is from. Sparrow Goblin is the main boss of the Abyssal Woods, or actually potentially the Flower Witch is. I'm not sure. That's pretty much the base model. Yeah, like it's pretty much not been converted at all. Stunning, Stunning figure. So yeah, it's the thing I was reflecting on as I was picking my top 10, what I deemed my best. The stuff that really hits me often has a nostalgic component to it. Like when I think about Lucas's figures, the ones that I love the most are so often um, the ones that are closest to the stuff that he was doing right when I was very first introducing myself into the display painting scene. You know, the Three Witches, Elf Rider. It just, nostalgia has such a strong hold over me. Another example of that, Necromunda, my favourite ever game. Like, you show me anything that looks vaguely Necromunda-esque, and I'm so there. So, my number one pick was a model that held a lot of nostalgic memories for me because of me seeing that for the first time and going, wow, that model is incredible. I would love to paint that. I still haven't, but I will. I will soon, because that figure, as I said, comes out in the Abyssal Woods, which is actually supposed to be 2026, by the way. So I may not paint that figure. I may die before I ever get it, but we can hope. We can hope. I didn't mean we can hope that I die before then, in case some of you were thinking that, or hoping that. I'm sure the people that got banned are thinking that, though. Yeah, incredible details. It's done by a guy named Thomas David, was the original sculpt, I'm pretty sure, and he did a lot of early Kingdom Death stuff, and he was quite influential on their style, I think. I mean, it's such a wonderful thing when you think about it. Like, I'm just gonna keep talking about Kingdom Death right now. Oh, new Necromunda, old Necromunda, mate. I'm in. Just sign me the fuck up. But yeah, the whole concept of Kingdom Death, right? It's a huge IP franchise game now, right? But it just started with some dude going, yeah, I have this cool idea. I'm gonna make a game. I just love the fact that there was some dude out there with the stones willing to go, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna do it because it's cool. And he has just kept doing it his way because he thinks it's cool. There's not very many other games out there in the world where you have fart decks because the monsters are farting on you while you're trying to kill them. It's a very very unique thing, and I just love it. I love everything about the story. And yeah, there's some bad times in along that path for fans of the game and for the creator, but really it's just a thing that I love. I went through a lot of phases in my younger days of being super passionate about a variety of things: Warhammer, War Machine, Guild Ball, Marvel Crisis Protocol. I do have a tendency to go absolutely ham on things. D&D. But Kingdom Death has been with me for quite a long time. 4 years, 5 years, 4 years, and I think I'm more excited for it now than I've ever been. So I just wonder at some point if that bubble's going to burst, or if there'll just be something else that grabs my imagination. But I do think it's It's different for Kingdom Death, and it's different for board games in general for me. When I was playing miniature games, like when I was playing War Machine, I would just live and breathe War Machine. I'd just wake up and I'd start writing lists in my head. I'd get on the group chat and we'd be talking about new releases, and we'd be, just absolutely frothing everything about the game. And then just got to a point where I felt like we'd absolutely just done it for too much time, too much of everything. Whereas with Kingdom Death, I play a campaign, play a couple of campaigns, and then I have a break for a few months, sometimes a year. And I come back and there's new content, there's new things to experience. It's all fresh and exciting again. Just board games in general, they seem to have a much more long-term appeal for me, because I can I can learn a new game, and I can learn a new strategy and try and figure out everything and then start again. Someone just asked me if I wanted to play touch football in about an hour. Had my dinner, sitting down to paint my soldiers. Shan't be playing touch football in an hour. Shan't. So yes, this character is Lucy. Lucy's one of the starting survivors. She's wielding tempered daggers. Everyone agrees that she's the best girl. And I am absolutely here for that, in absolute agreement. So I spent the weekend down at the Gold Coast. Technically it's the Gold Coast, it's actually right on the border of a town called Coolangatta. Had a very nice time actually. Had a bit of cold rock. Haven't had cold rock for a long time. Spent some time with my girlfriend who just moved in with me. So that was less fun. Hope she heard that. Wait. I can't remember if I talked about this last week or not, but yes, I was successful in finding a new job, which is quite a relief, I have to say. it was yeah. Thank you, Staple Walk. Thank you, Craigsog. Yeah. It was a nerve-wracking time, but it's worked out. It's worked out okay. So similar field, similar role, similar salary. So it should be a pretty smooth transition, I think, into that new company. How are you feeling about it, Mossy?
Great.
Good. Did you enjoy your holiday down in the Gold Coast?
I loved it. Did you enjoy it?
I just told everyone how much I hated spending time with you. Right. So I hadn't really thought about painting until yeah, that would have been problematic, I think. Well, look, I was at the point where I was like, well, if I can't find a job easily, I'll just do some toy soldier painting. Try and get my Twitch popping back again like it used to be. I used to get quite a lot of I used to have like 100, 150 people viewing the streams, and I used to do giveaways, and we used to get lots of subscribers. There was at a point there where I was like, maybe I should do this for real. Do you want to say hi to everyone, Mossy? And what I found at the end of that experience was that it felt like a job. I was like feeling forced into doing it, and felt forced into the way I was sitting down at the painting table, and I just was like, yeah, you know what? Every time I've done commissions, it's killed my spirit for painting. It's stopped me from enjoying what I do, so I shan't be doing it. And I just stopped. I just stopped trying to pump viewers and stopped trying to worry about getting subscribers and doing giveaways, and all of a sudden my enjoyment immeasurably improved, but my Twitch channel suffered. Absolutely spot on, Staple Walk. That was exactly what I decided in the end, and I feel much happier about the decision. There's certainly a part of me that feels like if I hadn't found a job easily, I probably would have been regretting it, because I would have felt like I had a ready-made solution, but it's all worked out in the end. Mossy's made herself a chai latte in case anyone's wondering what's happening in the background there. Oh look, the subs will come back or they won't. It's not really actually anything that I worry about now. And my missus is always giving my missus is always telling me that I should be more regular, like when I'm having a night off for whatever reason. If I just don't feel like streaming that night, she's like, oh, you just got to stream, you got to update people, tell people you're not doing it or whatever. And I'm just like, nah, I'm good. Aren't ya?
Yeah.
Aren't ya? Come and say goodnight.
I'm not going to bed yet.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's just been much better for my personal enjoyment of painting. And let's not forget, that's why we do it. Gotta remember, that's why we do it. For fun. And honestly, full power to people who can do this as a job. Full power to them. It is a hard fucking slog, so. Glue down, Lucy. I watched a movie last night, just by myself, once we went to bed early, big weekend. And I was like, I might watch a movie. And so I put on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I love Indy. It's been a big part of my life for a long time. And I had never watched it. It was okay. It wasn't anything that I would be rushing to tell my friends and family to go out and watch. But it was also okay. The expression flogging a dead horse did come to mind once or twice. And I certainly would have been fine if they didn't make another one. But it was okay. It was okay. So take that as a glowing recommendation. Or otherwise, for if you should go out and watch Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Crystal Skull is most definitely not the best one, Cragzog, and I know you're just doing it because you know it's going to rile me up, but please. Well, my favourite Indiana Jones. So did I tell this story last week? I might have told Mossy. No, I can't remember when I told this story. It might have been last week. But I used to ride my bike. So I used to be a little fella, and we used to live probably 5 minutes ride from the local library. And I used to ride my bike after school to the library because they used to have a VHS section, and so they used to be able to hire out VHSs, and so there was 7 movies that were just on absolute rotation with me that I would hire out. I'd just go there like every week, like on a Tuesday I think it was, and I'd hire out pretty much any of these library movies that were available. And I can't remember. I'd have to ask my dad, but I think you could hire them for a week or 2 weeks. And so, yeah, the 7 movies that I had on lockdown were Star Wars 4, 5, 6, and Indiana Jones 1, 2, and 3, and then Willow. They used to have Willow as well. So, So yeah, those were pretty much my childhood. I was like in grade 4 or 5. Used to go there. I used to stop at the convenience store as well and get a packet of those little fruit lollies. You know those hard lollies that were all the fruit flavors like banana and apples and stuff. Bananas were my favourite, by the way. So yeah, used to stop at the convenience store, spend my pocket money, my $2 on lollies, and come back to the library and then watch Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and Willow. And if you want to understand why I am the way that I am now, that's probably a pretty fair indication as to why I am the way that I am. So to answer your question, which one was my favourite one? It was either Raiders of the Lost Ark or Last Crusade. I think the Temple of Doom was a little bit too dark for me at that time. I think probably it would be Last Crusade. Indeed. Because of Sean Connery. I suddenly remembered my Charlemagne. Let my army be the rocks and the trees and the birds in the sky. Yeah, $2 cannot get anywhere near the amount of lollies it could back then. That was lollies for a week, basically. Well, it was lollies for like 2 days, anyway. Good memories. I have a lot of good memories from my childhood. I was very fortunate. With my childhood, I had a wonderful family who were very supportive of pretty much anything and everything that I wanted to do. And were quite accepting. I think my mum just used to be happy that I wasn't out doing drugs as a 7-year-old. I assume she was referring to, but no, pretty much I was just sitting at home painting my toy soldiers or reading books or watching nerdy shows, and I think she appreciated that. She never had to worry about me being a bad kid. Yeah. Oh god, I'm going deep now in the source, but there was one moment that has stuck with me to this day, and I remember how I felt back in the, as vivid as I am right now. There was a shop that used to be down near the local shopping centre, Strathpine. It was about 10-15 minutes away, and we used to go down there. It was called Dragon's Keep. Awesome shop for me. It had Warhammer and it had D&D books and it had a little arcade game, the Dungeons and Dragons arcade game, which is absolutely fucking incredibly bad. But that's where my internet handle came from. I'm sure I've told that before, but yeah, SIOUS69 is my internet handle. SIOUS. I've selected the wizard to play at this game the very first time I played it, and it asked for my name, and I pressed the button too quickly. I was trying to type my name, and I pressed the button, and so it actually just put up the generic name, which was SIOUS. So that was how I came up with my internet handle. I use that all the time. Anyway, so yeah, I was going down to Dragon's Keep just to hang out and go with my friends and stuff who were going. They had some money to spend. I didn't have any money. It was not at all a good time for me. It was a great time for me, but I didn't have any money. So yeah, I was just about to get picked up. My mate was here, and my mum comes over to me, and she'd just gone rushed to her wallet, and she just grabbed out $20, and she gave me $20. And she said, "Here you go, Trenny. I know it's not much, but you can buy a little thing with your friends." Mate, I swear, I nearly cried. Like I was 12, maybe 13. How was I? I can't remember. I literally nearly cried. And it actually makes me want to cry now because I just felt so appreciated and cared for by my mum at that moment because she didn't want me to go to the shop and not get to buy some stuff like all my friends were doing. And that, we didn't have heaps of cash like growing up. We just had we were okay, just a normal average family, I guess. We weren't poor at that time. A couple of years prior to that, we didn't have much, but yeah. So anyway, wonderful memory. Still feel very grateful for that, and I remember the model that I bought with it, and it's one of my favourites. It's a Nurgle Plague Marine Champion from 40k. Plague Marine Champion. I had great memories of that shop, Dragon's Keep. I bought all my Warhammer stuff from there. It's run by a nice bunch of dudes. I don't still have the model. No, I really wish I did, but I don't. I don't actually have too many models of pretty much anything these days. I tended to get it moved on pretty quickly, but I have the memory, and I will have that memory until the day I die. Yeah, Dragon's Keep was a great little shop. I was there, weekly, at worst, sometimes more than that. But I remember I went overseas, and I came back from this overseas trip. It was a school trip where I went as an exchange student, and I came back from the trip, and my mum had to tell me that the Dragon's Keep had closed down. That was it. Match Fixer, thank you. It's a long time. Too long. Yeah. I mean, it's not easy running a successful hobby business in this day and age when you can sell stuff on the internet. But back then, any hobby business, tough gig. So, I bought a lot of great stuff from that shop though. I bought the original Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual, the black ones with the red writing. I bought them. I bought my first Warhammer figures from there. Played in a 40k tournament there. Still remember the shop quite vividly. So anyway, I got onto this story because of how nostalgia driven I am. Like, so many of my decisions come from things that make me remember those feelings as a kid. Like, even why I paint dioramas and stuff is literally nostalgia driven. And I wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Because I've spent some obscene amounts of money on some of these things. I just think to myself, what could you have done if you'd saved all your money instead of buying toy soldiers, Deno? You probably wouldn't be working now, mate. You know? Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Don't know, mate, don't know. All I know is that I'm very happy with my life that I have right now. And I wouldn't want to trade that for much. Yeah, I've known car guys, I've known board gamers, warhammers. I think it's just human nature, isn't it, to want to have something that you're passionate about and care about. It's a good point. It is a good point. I do have some of those same sort of memories of my dad as well. It's not just my mum. I do have like moments that I remember where I get all squidgy inside, just thinking about my childhood and how fortunate I was with my upbringing. So Lucy, 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 Lucy. Whoa, whoa. What you doing to me? So one thing I've been really enjoying with my Kingdom Death, and in fact probably a lot of board game pieces more recently, has just been a nice little airbrush colour towards the end of the paint job, just to harmonise everything and bring it all together. So for the Kingdom Death range, it's generally been purples and pinks to just tie in the little slightly unnatural vibe that the game has. But I really feel it's actually really nice for what it does to finish the model. Just tones everything down just a tiny little bit. Brings it all together. So we might do that now. And then we'll just do our base. Nice one, Deno. So I was cleaning up my desk the other day, pulling out some old figures that I'd started and hadn't finished, and I really got motivated to finish them off. So I've pulled down quite a few that I think I'm going to try and tick off in the next few weeks before I start my new job. And I'm going to treat them like little experiences to see what I can learn out of these. Hey Jared, it's going well, mate. I got a new job, so feeling good. So I just thought I might show off a couple of these. So this guy, a long time ago that I painted this, couldn't tell you when, but it was a test of the Chimera paints. This is the first time I ever painted with Chimera paints, and so it's all brush too. I didn't do any airbrushing on that. Love this model. So I think this one will be relatively quick, I think, to finish. We'll do some airbrushing, we'll do some more airbrushing, and we'll do a tiny little bit of airbrushing, and we should be able to make that look quite good. So project number one for me to finish, pretty quick. One of the other companies, one of the competitors, mate, so pretty good. This one I actually just undercoated. I haven't really made up my mind if I want to paint this guy or not. If anyone out here wants to paint this guy more than me, I'm sort of ambivalent towards it. I like the model, and I think I'd like to paint it. At the same time, I haven't painted it in like 6 years, so why on earth am I going to start now? This has literally been primed for 6 years. I got this the first week I moved into my new house. 7 years almost. 7 years next month. This one I think I did on stream a little while ago. Was trying some creepy stuff with the skin. Didn't really land it, but it's got some fun stuff in there. I reckon I'd like to finish that off. Shouldn't take too long. It's got a lot of stuff that's basically finished. So yeah, I might paint her. And then this one, which Jared will remember vividly because he also hated this model. No, this one I started on stream as well. So these have all just been sitting on my shelf, ready to be painted, and just haven't done them. So I think what we'll do is I don't want to assume anything, but I'd like to bank some cash. So I'd like to just knock over 4 of those models and see if I can sell them and just bank a little bit of cash. So whilst I've got some time up my sleeve. It's a hard model to paint, mate. I do appreciate the weak gutted dog comment. I appreciate that. Alright, what did I say? Airbrushing. Let's do it. Let's do it. I think we're going to use some magenta. And we're actually going to we might use the Chimera Paint Magenta. It is a dick puncher, that is for sure. And when I say dick puncher, I mean it is extremely potent colour. So we need to be very, very careful not to overdo it. How's the new camera angle going for everyone? Is it working? I feel like it's working for me, which is good. Kiki's back. Thank you for the raid, Kiki. Welcome to everyone that's new here. I paint little toy soldiers. Here is an example of some of the little toy soldiers that I've painted before. That recently got added to Zerko's vault. I don't know if anyone saw that, but I posted it on my Instagram. Join the collection at the vault. Here's another one you'll find in the vault, friends. Ooh. What can I do to increase the audio volume on my end? That is at max. I can maybe bring this a little closer to my head. Does that help, Nalan? I have been having some audio troubles recently on my YouTube videos, and I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but I have had a number of people observe that my audio is quite a little bit lower than other people's, so something for me to work on. See what I can figure out. So what I was talking about just before the lovely people joined from Kiki Miniatures Mania, who you should all go follow, but pretty much everyone that joined probably already on that channel, was just about how a little airbrush hints of magenta has really just polished the model together a little bit. It's really worked, tying everything together. So just a few little highlights and tweaks now. Will make a big difference. Alright, let's do the base. And we'll call it a day. Do you have some life left in you? Stuff from a week ago. This was literally a week ago that I used this. And the wet palette has survived. We've got life. Oh, actually, I do need something. Hey, Mossy, can you hear me? See if she's going to be willing to grab it for me. She probably won't. Don't think she can hear me. No. Alright, I'm going to go grab. So I painted one. This one, as I said, from the 10th anniversary survivors. This is Lucy. I painted one of the other girls in this set. So I just want to make sure the two look good together beside each other before I stick a fork in them, as it were. Bet you that was loud. Back in 1 second. Remind me if you're gone. Maybe it's time to come home. Cool figure. Cool figure. Yeah, I might just tweak her legs just a tiny little bit. Yeah, Seb's Triceratops. Should pop a link in the chat, actually. Australian made. I've really got to do some more veiled lamp stuff. Really do. Alright, we got 2 more boyos to do tonight. Well, we don't have to do them tonight, but I just got 2 more boyos sitting there. which is from this same set. Tenth anniversary survivors. Oh, nice. That's good. Hey, interesting observation for you, my friend. So, Triceratopses, herbivores. Herbivores mean their eyes are always pointing outwards because they're looking around for their predators that are going to come and eat them. That's a really hard thing to paint and have it look right. If their eyes are pointed out in directions they should be, it looks wrong. So there you go. I don't really have a solution for you. I was just observing that. Enjoy. Fans of the YouTube channel Ninjon may remember this figure being painted recently on his channel. This is Alistair. From the 10th anniversary set. Same as the girls. Maybe we might try a little bit of Ninjon on this model. Yeah, go on, Deno. Go on, have a go. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try. This could be awful. Could be an absolute masterstroke. Let's try. Tea-Lady, stunning. Alright, so step one of the Ninjon approach is we're going to use Liquitex acrylic white ink. I have not diluted it. I normally dilute everything that runs through my airbrush, but I'm not diluting this. try overlaying some colours. Liquitex white ink is quite good. I will give it that. I've tried a few other white inks and they've all been rubbish, but that one works quite well. I've done a little bit of experimenting with it. So now I'm actually going to try, what do I want to try? I might try charred brown. Jimmy, hello mate. Yeah, so Verco's is basically just a collector who lives in the United States. For quite a while now, has just sort of been purchasing works from artists that he likes, and then as it so happens, his collection has continued to grow and grow, and he's started supporting many and varied artists, and came up with the idea of putting together a museum of miniature art. Certainly not the first person to come up with the idea, but yeah, and so that's basically what Verco's is it's a museum of miniature artists, and it's all funded by one very wonderful, supportive, creative gentleman who really loves miniature art and loves the hobby, and loves supporting artists as well. So the situation as it stands now is they're opening for the public. They're doing classes. It's turning into a pretty massive deal, and the collector is just one of the loveliest people. Hey Bucks, yeah, and as Bucks just said, has a wonderful team of people supporting him. As it continues to grow and evolve, it'll no doubt become another successful business venture for this wonderful man, and I'm very, very fortunate to have been there in that collection for a number of years, actually. My first piece was in there in 2018. So I've been in the vault for 5-6 years, which is a very fortunate position to be in. I feel very lucky. He's trusted me to find other artists that he thinks would be suitable for the vault, which I've done to the best of my ability. And yeah, it's just it's a really amazing thing to have in the figure painting scene. Have someone who's really supportive of the art in general. Bucks and I have talked a lot about, do we consider this an art form? And started some pretty wanky conversations about that. That I've never really had much to do with, but it is, I think, certainly a legitimate art form, and particularly with places like Verco's being out there in the world, legitimizing that. And as I said, it's really nice to feel like I'm a small part of that. I don't consider myself an artist. I think many people have tried really hard to get in there, and I think probably one of the reasons why I've been successful is probably because I don't really try and think of it as art. I don't know. I don't want to speak as to why. Hey, Mossy, good one. Don't want to speak as to why I've been lucky enough to get in there, because honestly, it's just something I feel very blessed about all the time. Very fortunate, and yeah, it's a cool place. It's a cool place. Give us a thumbs up, Mossy. Come and say goodnight. Got ya. Come on, come and say goodnight. Oh. Yes, Sook. Bucks is here. Gonna say goodbye to Bucks.
Bye, Bucks.
Oh, wait. So yes, did that answer your question, Jimmy? About what the vault is and who it exists for, and great. Hey, honestly, there is nothing I would love more than everyone to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve in this hobby. And if your goal is to get a piece into the Verco's vault, I think that's a fantastic goal to have. But I would suggest that the way to achieve that is exactly the same advice that I give everyone over and over and over, which is just work hard, keep painting, practice. If you are dedicated to what you are doing and you are producing cool stuff, you know, that will not go unnoticed by the Verco's Vault curators. Hello, Meso. Yeah, I use inks all the time. I'm using inks on this particular figure, which is probably a bit unusual. But yeah, we're just trying some things. Trying to do a bit of a ninja piece. Yeah, that's an interesting observation. There is no art without craft. Okay. Yeah, the answer to just about everything in life is work hard. Probably the most exciting thing about Verco's, I think, is just to see what it's going to turn into, because it is just I mean, I've only seen pictures, but it has got to be something incredible to behold, to see all of those works of what I would consider modern day miniature greats, all in the one place. Like, it just must be absolutely overwhelming, in an amazing way. So, and this is just a very early on in its lifespan. So, really excited to see where it goes. Look, people, I'm sure there are many people in the collection that have those concerns. I'm in the very fortunate position that I don't have to worry about that. You know, this is just a bit of fun for me. But for some of those people, I'm sure that are in there, there's a lot of concern over what's going to happen if it all goes kaput. But I feel like the owner, the proprietor, the man in charge, feel like he's the type of person that will want to see his creation live on. And in fact, it's probably part of the reason why he's doing this now, is so that he can continue to be a positive influence for years to come. That's just my speculation. I don't have any inside knowledge there. Yeah, definitely one of the older gentlemen. Yeah, it should be set up to be a self-sufficient business, and I would hope that would continue in the future for a long time to come. There's no inside knowledge there. I don't have any any insights as to what the plan is in the future, but yeah, just hopeful that that we get to go there one day. G'day, Mick, back. And yeah, couple of Australian people have been very fortunate to get in there, and we'd love to make a pilgrimage over to visit the vault at some point and see how it works and have a laugh at how the fuck we managed to convince our way into that. Indeed. But it's a morbid conversation. Please, Masso, please share away. I have no idea how this is going to pan out, if this little white ink approach is going to work. It's certainly interesting. Not sure if it's going to be something that I'll take exactly like this into future projects, but there's definitely some value in some of these things. We'll see. probably the most important thing to be doing right now is looking at Masso's work. And so that is what we're going to do whilst this little thing dries. Let's have a look. Oh. Let's see. Whew. Well, I'll make a couple of observations right off the bat. And the first is that it's really beautiful ambience. You really do feel the warmth of the sunset, and it really is very well executed, cold, dark shadows, and warm lights. So, well done. Very, very good on that perspective. For critiques, I guess I would say one of the biggest issues, common frequent things that I talk about is focal points and value contrast. And I think there's a very clear focal point on the face, which is excellent, and it's really highlighted in this angle here. You can clearly see that this area of the face is the focal point, which is exactly as it should be. Where I feel like the piece is maybe lacking a little bit elsewhere is the rest of the piece probably feels like it sits at quite a similar value on the value scale. So if we were to turn this picture into a grayscale, I think pretty much everything other than the face would probably sit at around the same value. And so what you do tend to find then is that everything just sort of gets this a little bit lost. Like if you sort of squint your eyes a little bit and look at it, everything just tends to look a little too similar. And so the way that you combat that is you go really dark areas next to really light areas, and you alternate those things. And so I think as an example of that, I would have made the beard black, and that would have then really made the face light up even more. And then it would have also allowed you to have the metal potentially reflect a little bit higher value. And I'll come back to the metal in a second, but which would then make the metal pop more as well. So just thinking about how you can use light and dark value contrast, not just in an individual volume, but across the whole piece to really draw focus into certain areas, and also to create a visually interesting piece. And then I think the metal is probably an area that is not quite hitting the mark, specifically the shoulder pad and the wristband. Now if I go and look at the axe blade, the axe blade's quite good, particularly on the dark side. The axe blade is working quite well. I can't really see it on the light side, but one critique I used to give our great friend Dave Colwell quite a lot was just when metal looks like metal, you just immediately know. You just like it immediately jumps out at you. And I think where we can sometimes go wrong with metal is we leave it a little bit too grey. It looks a little bit too much like stone. And I feel like the metal on this is just missing a few little shine highlights in a very, very bright, white or ice yellow sort of colour, because that shine is just the tiny little part that's missing on that metal and really making it pop. So I feel like those two things are probably your next steps. How can you improve your value contrast, and then how you can just elevate the metal? And I think that those two things will turn this from being an exceptional piece into an award-winning piece. So well done, mates. Very cool. yeah, it's really great to see awesome awesome painters in the chat. Like, we've got some great painters in the chat. You know, Bucks is obviously in the chat. Jared's in the chat. Bunny, Ben, etc. But yeah, nice to see your works. You're very welcome. That was intentional, Craig's dog. Standard gang represent, isn't it? Or something like that. Oh, it's my turn in the game. Standard gang rise up. Yeah, sorry, mate. Haven't been in standard for about 10 years, so don't remember what that's like. I started the preparation for Crimson and started thinking about the trip in the event. And one thing I was remembering last year, Koki and I did the trip down together, my good mate Koki, and we listened to an episode of Critical Role on our way down. And I'm a fan of Critical Role. I don't think I can ever commit that much of my life to watching other people play. I just want to play myself and with myself. But I love the fact that there is a wildly successful business out there right now that is nothing but people playing Dungeons and Dragons. I absolutely love that. I think that's one of the greatest things to ever come out of our nerd hobby. And I'm sure nerds will find a way to ruin it if they haven't already, with gatekeeping and silly stuff. But I think it's great. I'm a big fan. Yeah. There was a period there where I was driving a lot for work, and so I used to listen to episodes, and I got through pretty much first campaign, like just driving along, listening to that. And this was well after the fact. Like, I started Critical Role for the first time like 3 years ago, so I was well behind the times, right? But and it was great. I had a really good time listening to them, and laughing along. And it's as I said, it's a great product. I love it. But all it made me want to do was not watch more Critical Role or listen to more Critical Role. It made me want to play D&D with my friends, and so that's what ended up happening. Cool shield. Cool shield. Fun to paint. So my little Kingdom Death collection, when I say little, it's basically consists of every model that has ever released for Kingdom Death that has game content attached to it, so it's actually the opposite of little. But it's starting to take shape now. I spent a lot of time over the last few weeks organising it all and having a real solid look at where I was at in terms of the painting. And I've started drilling down and painting some of the survivor models, which are comprise the larger portion of the figures that I've got for the game. All the monsters I've painted, all the monsters are finished, but I've got like 200 survivor models that are either not built or built but not painted. So I decided to start correcting that, and it's now organised in my cabinet. And I bought some little label things that I'm going to print out little labels for cool sets. So they released in sets. So got little labels for them, which is cool. Jimmy, I don't know if you've ever watched Sergio, but you should go and watch Sergio's videos. He makes a fucking career out of just doing extremely satisfying to watch highlights, and he does it far better than I ever will. So treat yourself and watch some Sergio. When I think about you, I touch myself. Oh, I don't want anybody else. Oh no, oh no. Oh, Sergio. Just feel like cracking the Bette Midler. Did you ever know that you're my hero, Sergio? You're everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause Sergio's the wind beneath my wings. Fly so high I almost touch the sky. Thank you, thank you, thank God for you, Sergio Calvo Rubio. Got to be due a new video actually soon, Sergio. I'm excited. Love watching him. Yep. Good. That's a very pleasing outcome for me, Jimmy. I like motivating people to want to paint. Hopefully making people feel like painting is accessible and you can paint stuff cool, quickly, but yeah, just making people want to paint. That is a nice outcome of this experience for me. I'm glad. Good night. Night, Mossy. Well, we will probably finish up the streams shortly so that we don't keep Mossy awake with me, gibbering along and painting stuff. But yeah, good little stream. I'm so pleased to be cracking on with these figures. Actually, as I said, the collection of these survivor models is far too large. Far too many unpainted models for someone who professes to be a rapid painter to have not painted my collection. It's piss week, really. It's a piss week effort, don't I? Rectify that. I've actually felt much better about painting after finding out I had a job. Just a weight off the shoulders. It's the old Maslow's pyramid of needs. For those who aren't familiar with it, it's a bit of a psychology thing where people really struggle to focus on things when the needs that they have, their basic human needs, haven't been met. And at the very, very bottom of the pyramid, as it were, is food and shelter. And it's very hard for people to concentrate and do a good job or do anything really if they aren't sure where they're going to get their next meal from or where they're going to sleep that night. And whilst I wasn't at the point where that was a concern, it was also sort of in the back of my mind, wow, food and shelter, got to start thinking about it again. And so it sort of takes the focus away from painting a little bit, because that's all you're thinking about is food and shelter. So to have that now sort of not be a determining factor in my thought process and what's happening in my brain, it's very, very good. And yes, you're absolutely right, Cragzog. It is a piss weak dog effort from me, and it's one that I'm in the process of rectifying. I'm glad, mate. Yeah, hey, here's the thing, don't... Maslow's pyramid of need tells us that it's very hard to concentrate or focus on things when you haven't got those basic needs. You should just Google Maslow's pyramid of needs. The next levels, all the steps tell you where you're at, what you should be focusing on, stuff, and yeah, just a helpful little thing to keep in mind if you're ever struggling with something. Maybe one of your basic needs lower on on the pyramid hasn't been met. And give yourself some grace, because that's okay. Yeah. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Jimmy, but just reinforces the wonderful point that I was making. How can you possibly be excited about painting toy soldiers, you know? You know, sometimes hobbies are a distraction, you know? But it's hard to enjoy that, enjoy the distraction, when you've still got that in the back of your mind. So, anyway, little bit of Deno's learnings from years of managing people coming out there. I without wanting to scare anyone, haven't had that conversation yet, and so I'm going to table that in my first week or two at the new job. I can't imagine that it's going to be a time where I'll be needed, given that there's a public holiday around that time. So, yeah. But there is, of course, a possibility that I may not be able to get that time off, which will stick a bit of a spanner in the works. So I'm not at panic stations or anything at this point, right? I'm sure it's just a conversation to explain the situation, and I'm sure they'll be supportive. Most workplaces are pretty supportive in this day and age for work-life balance. So I can't imagine that there'll be a challenge. It may just the only issue may come out if there's some stuff that I'm not aware of planned around that time, conference, etc. that may just impact on the actual organisational dates. And if we get to that point, then it'll be change of a lot of plans in terms of what we're doing for streaming. Because I'll probably have to fly to Canberra as opposed to driving, etc., etc. So, as always, I've thought through all of the possibilities and I have a plan in place. So we'll be fine, whatever happens. But yeah, I appreciate that offer, Mick, back. At this point in time, Ben, Bucks, Bunny are all on track to arrive the day before, and can potentially do the setup. G'day, Oreoclast. That I would normally lean into, and I'm sure they'll do an admirable job if that is required. But it may not be required, so we may be catastrophizing for no reason. I will tell them I'm in Verco's, Craig, so it's a great suggestion. I'm sure they will understand. yeah, look, it'll be a shame if that's what happens, but the event itself takes precedence over the streams, and if that's the only aspect that we get to proceed with, then that's the only aspect we get to proceed with. So, anyway, we've gone very far afields. Thanks, Jared, for tossing that one up. I'm sure it'll be 90% fine. Probably 95%. %. No, it's, yeah. It is a good observation. It's one that I've been reflecting on and, as I said, planning for. So, that's it. Got to be prepared. But, I mean, as you know, most of my job is about problem solving, and the key to pretty much everything is just being prepared, having a plan. So, I have prepared how I'll speak about it to my new company. I've prepared how I will approach it. I've prepared how I'll handle it should I be unable to do so. Well, Jared, if I was working at PRM, I wouldn't have needed to be looking for a job, mate, because you would never have sacked me. You know? Keep asking to set up the Queensland wing of PRM. No, that is appreciated. Yeah, at this point in time, all is well. And until that changes, that will be all. Just something I was thinking about, completely tangential and unrelated, but just something that popped into my head the other day. When did I stop caring about Marvel movies? Like, when did I stop? Because there was a period there where I was just frothing it. They really have just fallen from grace in a massive way, haven't they? It's not just me feeling that way, right? Marvel movies have just gone off the radar. I watched the last couple, like I watched the Marvels. How did they lose it? How did they lose it? Because there was a period there where they were just an unstoppable juggernaut. Hmm. The Spidey one was fantastic. Seeing all the Spideys together. And Endgame was fantastic. How do you top it? And the reality is you can never top it. Keep trying to do stuff with bigger and bigger stakes. Hmm. Yeah. I just wish I could. I wish I could go back to a time when I was absolutely frothing for them. Because it was a great time. Great time. Mm. Agreed. Loki was exceptional. Enjoyed the heck out of that. Loki was probably the best thing they've done recently, yeah. Andor. Andor was great. Is it actually Disney? Is it coincide with when they took over? I mean, it's not as simple as that, right? But hmm. Yeah. Cool observation. Well, the formula has to get tiring, but yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to just pinpoint one thing, right? But it's just all come crashing down in a very overt way. And I just don't have the same investment that I used to. Still play Marvel Snap though. All right, that's going to do us for tonight, friends. We'll leave Mossy to have a good night's sleep. So we did a little bit of Lucy. We did a little bit of Alistair. We've got our Urza already done. We'll just tweak a little bit more. I wish I was sponsored by Marvel Snap. That's the last guy to do in the 10th anniversary Survivors. This is Zachary. I never watched the Constantine show. Isn't that DC though? I've actually loved Arrow. I love the whole DC extended multiverse. I watched Arrow. I watched a lot of Flash. Yeah, I really liked that Arrow series. Thought it was good. Yeah, the Edward Norton Hulk, vastly different. Eric Bana. Even go even go back and watch Thor. The first Thor was very much like watching a theatre directed by Kenneth Branagh, and it became very, very different. Not necessarily in a bad way though. Like, I think that's important. But yeah, maybe that's something we can dive into more next stream. Speaking of next stream, I will be back on Sunday. As I said last week, I was off on holidays down the beautiful Gold Coast. So that was a nice time down there. But yeah, this Sunday, back with a vengeance. Getting as much painting in as I can before the new job commences. So the countdown is on. I think I'm at T-minus 3 weeks now till I start a new job. Nervous. Well done, mate. Congratulations. I understand how difficult it is to go through that process right now. So that has a little bit more personal meaning for me. So well done. They actually wanted me to start, probably earlier than I did offer them. So, but yeah, that's okay. I basically had to provide 4 weeks. Yeah, same with my minority class. I was made redundant. Yeah, couple of weeks ago, I found out officially. So no, things happen. Everywhere a door closes, a window opens, and this could be a wonderful experience and opportunity for me. And so I'm going to treat it as such, and I'm sure that it will pan out very similarly for you as well. That is it, friends. I'll be back on Sunday. I look forward to seeing you then. Have a fantastic week. I'll catch you all soon. Big Dinner out.